Welcome into another edition of the Stripe Show podcast. It is a Froggy Wednesday, and we are talking President's Cup. The President's Cup right around the corner in this little short air downtime that we call the PGA Tour offseason for the final year. We've got a 2022 Pebble Beach Pro-Am winner, 10th in the FedEx Cup final standing, 6 top 10s this year. Tom Hoge joining us. Good morning, Tom.
Yeah, good morning. Nice to be back with you. It's been a little while.
I know it has been. I remember seeing you at the Players on, I think it was Monday, because that's when we finished. If you remember,
exactly.
You were one of the lucky ones that got your round in on Thursday, and then we had about 4 seasons of weather and rain and everything else in the world, and you had a pretty good finish at the Players. Those were tough. Was that the toughest conditions you played in all year?
Yeah, I would just say it was the weirdest tournament. You know, it was really nice for the first round, probably as easy as TPC Sawgrass could get. And then I had 2 days off until I played Sunday morning. I came out and it was like 25 degrees for a wind chill to play. I mean, I had packed for Florida a few weeks before, and the forecast was like 75 degrees everywhere. So I was finding every piece of clothing that I had to put on that morning. It was pretty cold. But and then, just wet, and there was so much that went into that, and it was a long tournament. But, yeah, it seems like it was a long time ago now, looking back on it.
It was. That was last March. A lot has transpired since then, and I did one of those things. I gambled that I would. You know what? I'm going to get Tom Hoge on. He's a good guy. He's been on before, and President's Cup picks are coming out, and I was damn sure that you were going to get picked. And then all of a sudden this morning, I looked at my President's Cup picks, and Tom Hoge's not picked. So did you get a call from DL3 this morning? The picks did come out, and we'll get into exactly how everything fell and whatnot. But did you get a call from DL3? How did that go?
Yeah, so I talked to him. I would have been heading home from the Tour Championship, actually, when I finished 10th. And it was a weird deal. I felt like I had a great year, obviously. But I hadn't played well in the middle part of the summer. I'd missed a few cuts in there. I played well at 3M. I finished 4th there. Missed another cut to start off the FedEx Cup at Memphis. So, I look back on it that I wish I would have played a little bit better the last couple of months of our season. I could have controlled things a little bit better for myself. But it was a weird deal. I felt like the team was pretty well set, and then Will got hurt.
Right.
The second playoff event, and almost felt like it was a little bit of a qualifier. It felt like if you go out and play well and beat some of these other guys around the bubble, maybe you've got a pretty good chance. And,
right.
Got a call from Davis, and he just said that they were opting to go with experience. And obviously Kevin's match play record kind of speaks for itself, that he's done really well in that format. And, you look at it that any one of the players they could have picked for that last spot's a great player and has had a hell of a year, and they could make a case for every one of you. So you can't fault the guy for their selection. But, it stings. I would have loved to be on that team, but I'm trying to use it as motivation that hopefully I can make it on that Ryder Cup team next year.
Yeah, we do have a Ryder Cup again, because my Ryder Cup's kind of everything's been thrown off a year. Used to be odd, even the other way around. Now we're, because of the pandemic, we're off. So the final team is Scheffler, Cantlay, Schauffele, Burns, and JT and Finau. Those are in points. And then the 6 President's Cup picks, because Zalatoris is injured and cannot play. Spieth, Morikawa, Max Homa, Billy Horschel, Cam Young. And then, like you said, you were the next one on the list. Skip over JT Poston, and then Kevin Kisner, he was 15th. He got in as the final pick. But, when you look at that lineup of U.S. players, Immelman had a really, really tough go due to the guys not being qualified because of going over to play in the LIV Series. The international team really felt like Immelman had to really dig super deep to get some picks there.
Yeah, I guess the running joke that I kind of had for a few weeks here is that maybe the U.S. team needs to leave off the 6 automatic picks to make things a little bit more interesting. But that'll probably be bulletin board material for the international team.
Right. I love how Tom stoked the fire. Then he's like, "Hey, I'm not on the team. I'm not worried about that anymore."
I was thinking selfishly, if you take out the top 6 guys, I'd be looking a little bit better to be on that team. But yeah, it's been such a crazy deal. Even finishing the Tour Championship, we really didn't know which guys were going to be heading for LIV kind of that off week, and that's why they delayed these picks until today. But just so much turmoil, so many guys leaving, and feels like every week somebody else is dropping out. But
it's been a crazy week, a crazy year in golf. I mean, it really has. I mean, I can't think of another year like this really in any sport where we've had an upstart league come in and just start picking guys off the way this has happened. And it feels like they pick off somebody like a pretty decent name every time they pick someone off.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like every week. And, for me, I would say I kind of made my decision regarding LIV, earlier in the year. And I've just tried to block a lot of this out really the last month or two. And, my focus was on making this President's Cup team and trying to play well every time I teed it up. That was kind of the realization that I had. So I've really kind of stayed away from a lot of this LIV talk, a lot of our PGA Tour changes. Even I couldn't even tell you half of what they changed, really. But I've just tried to take the approach that wherever I tee it up next, I'm going to go play well, and good things will kind of come my way.
Tom, were you approached by LIV at all?
Yeah, I was. And I was kind of at that weird time, I would say back in April when things were really in limbo for the LIV. You're gearing up for the first event in London, and you had no idea who was going to play. So it was a weird time to be thinking about that and what it all might entail. But and I would say for me personally, it was my 8th year on the PGA Tour. I had just won for the first time. I was getting in. I had a lot of events to look forward to that I've never played in before. I just played the Masters for the first time. But, I had, the Tour Championship, Maui coming up the start of the year. There's a lot of great tournaments I've worked my whole life for that I wasn't ready to give up on at that point, I would say. And, I made my decision with the assumption the PGA Tour would have to change their model quite a bit to really compete with these guys and that more money would be flowing into the tour. And I guess I feel a little more comfortable with my decision now that that's sort of happened after these top players have met and made the changes that we have.
Were you in that players only meeting in Delaware?
I was not. I don't know how many. I think it was about 20 were there, and I was not included in that. But yeah, I can't fault the direction that it's going to go. I think that as a fan of golf, you want to see the best players tee it up more often. It sounds like this is what we're going to get from this.
Yeah. Are you happy with the decision that you've made? Have you wanted to waver at any point and said, hey, maybe I would revisit that again? Is it something that once you say no to LIV, are you done, or can you go back to that?
I would say it was tough seeing those guys play the first few weeks. I felt like I turned down a pretty significant signing bonus, so to speak, and then see somebody win $4 million every week, certainly hard.
Right.
Especially as they started gaining more and more names and more traction. But I still felt comfortable, even more so now. Feel very comfortable with the decision that I've made. You don't want to get into money a whole lot, but at the end of the day, how much money does it really take to do you to kind of walk away from your dreams and where you want to play from? That's kind of the ultimate question. And just for me, it was the realization, if I sign a 4-year deal with LIV, which is what I was offered, that my career could potentially be over in 4 years because I could be banned from the PGA Tour or anything like that. And LIV might not want me after 4 years. And, what does my life look like with no golf? I don't know. That wasn't something that I'm quite ready to face, I think. So, yeah, I still feel very comfortable with that decision. And like I said, after I made that decision, there were a few distractions as LIV was playing their first few tournaments. But after that, I just tried to focus on what I'm doing and just go play well wherever that might be.
Have you watched any of the LIV Golf?
I've tuned in real briefly. I think just like anybody else, you want to see what it looks like, what they're doing out there. But I would say it's maybe for 15 to 20 minutes at a time here and there. It's nothing real serious.
Yeah. Anybody has it cost you any friendships? Because I know some people have said, I've heard that there are big divides on tour. I see some of the players are much more outspoken about guys who have left. And then some are just like, hey, whatever you want to do, if that's what you want to go do, fine, go do it. We're still friends. But I know there is some divide.
I would say I haven't. I certainly can understand why guys do it. I mean, it's a great opportunity financially to go make a lot of money. And for me, I would say that when I made that decision, I came to the realization that I'll probably never make that kind of money in my career playing the PGA Tour. I'll make significantly less, but it was something I'm okay with to have the freedom and to be able to play where I want to play. But so I understand why guys have gone to LIV and want to play out there. Certainly maximize their earning potential being a golfer. But I think the tough part gets to be when these lawsuits start going.
Right.
That's where guys start having a problem. So,
right. Like you left on your
yeah,
own will and you got the money, which that's fine. I mean, I've been very, very upfront about how I feel about it. And I don't like where the money's coming from. That is my biggest issue. I have no trouble with competition and another group and that kind of stuff. It's fine. However, don't leave one entity to go play for another entity, get your money, and then you claim you wanted to play less golf and you wanted to have more freedom. Then you wanted to come back and sue to play where you were, which now you'd end up playing more golf.
yeah,
That makes no sense.
Really just trying to get the best of both worlds. And yeah, that's where I would say that we have a problem. That if I turn down that money, I certainly don't want those guys coming and cherry picking our best events to play in our biggest.
Right.
So that gets tough, but at the same time, Harold Varner, Hudson Swafford, those guys, they're all friends of mine, and that'll never change, I don't think.
Yeah, no, and I see the guys now this week, for example, yesterday afternoon, Billy Horschel, who's been extremely outspoken in how he feels about it, said that his issue was guys are now coming over to play the Wentworth BMW, and there are guys that have never played a DP World Tour event ever, a European Tour event, and now they want to play this, and the reason they want to play is they're trying to garner some world ranking points because they're not getting them with LIV. So I see where there are guys who are DP World Tour players every week. They're now out this week because other guys are in because of their world ranking points. To me, that's not right.
Yeah, I agree completely. Now, I will say, I even looked at going and playing the BMW PGA this week just because it's such a great event. So,
yeah,
guys obviously want to play if they're eligible. And I think they've got a category written in their rules for top 50 players in the world to come play. So it's hard to fault guys there. And obviously they're doing this with, trying to stay in the top 50 in the world rankings to get in the majors and all that. So they've got pretty clear motives for why the LIV guys need to play there. But yeah, I mean, if you're one of those guys that would be, top 5-10 guys left out of this field this week, it'll be a tough one that, like you said, they've come and cherry picked your best tournaments that have the biggest purses, biggest world ranking points, and want to play those.
Yeah. Have you, I've read a few things online, and that's the thing is that when you read these things online, you don't ever know if it's true, if it's not true, how much is embellished and how much is actually real. Have you heard of any guys who have gone over to LIV who have regretted their decision to go and kind of wish they could come back or that they had stayed?
I haven't heard anything like that. And, obviously it'll be interesting. At some point, there's going to come a time where a guy wants to leave LIV to come back to the PGA Tour. And it'll be interesting to see who the first guys are and how that's handled, so to speak. Because I'm interested more as a fan how that's going to work out than anything. These guys have been suspended by the PGA Tour. Who knows how long that's going to be for, but some point here, whether it's end of this year, end of next year, somebody's going to want to come back, and we'll see. I really haven't had much conversation with any of these LIV guys at all. I played with Taylor Gooch in the U.S. Open. I think they'd only played one event up to that point, but I don't know. I think that all these guys obviously made their decision based off of money and the purses there were. I guess they're all happy with that decision at this point.
Yeah, I mean, at some point, you would think if somebody did want to come back, I'm not sure they'd be well received by all the players that are still here on the PGA Tour.
Yeah, and I don't know what it would entail with their contracts with LIV as far as getting out of those and what all that would be involved. But certainly, I think it'd be a pretty lengthy suspension still to sit out from the PGA Tour.
But with these guys going over to LIV, doesn't that open up opportunities for whether it's guys that are currently on the PGA Tour that had been playing on the PGA Tour and new guys? I mean, let's be honest. We're looking for the next Dustin Johnson. We're looking for the next Brooks Koepka. We're looking for the next up and coming guys. And aren't these opportunities probably greater now than they were before on the tour?
Yeah, no doubt. And the PGA Tour has never had a shortage of competition or guys, kind of ready to step in and fill that spot. So I watched the Korn Ferry Finals over the weekend. There's 25 guys that are ready to go right there and step up. And, I think the thing that's amazing in golf is you can go down to mini tours and college and everything, and there's great players everywhere. So they'll be ready to go. I hope I can stay out here and compete for a few more years with those guys, but they all bomb it. They all hit it so far that it's exciting to watch for the next generation. So I think that the PGA Tour is in a great spot, and that'll only continue to stay that way.
Tom, talk about the depth that is out there, because I watched the Corn Ferry event as well, and the only difference is those guys just haven't been given the opportunity yet. Those guys can absolutely play on the PGA Tour, and they can come in and compete right away at that level, correct?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I think that everybody's seeing that drive that Brandon Matthews hit on the 18th hole. I mean, 370-yard carry for water, and I would say that's one of the scariest holes that I've played on the Corn Ferry Tour. I mean, shoot, I was hitting driver out there and having 150, 160 yards in out left of the water, and he took it right over and flew it on the green from 370. So it's amazing what some of these guys are doing. You know, the game has changed so much just from the distance aspect of it. But you look at a golf course like Victoria National. I mean, it's a tough, visually intimidating golf course, and I forget the number it took to top 10, but it was probably 13, 14 under par. I mean, the scores are incredible they shot out there.
Right.
So, yeah, I mean, like you said, the depth is there. I mean, you can go down to PGA Tour Canada, Latino America, all that. I mean, there's great players everywhere that are just waiting for that opportunity. And, with 48 guys leaving to go to LIV, maybe a few more guys will get that chance a little bit faster to come out there and find themselves on the PGA Tour.
Has anybody surprised you that's gone to LIV? Has there been one person yet that's gone that you thought, wow, didn't ever think I'd see that?
Well, it's hard to say. I mean, you could throw a lot of those guys out there, Dustin Johnson, Cam Smith, some of those guys that, they're certainly never going to go hungry in the rest of their lives. That's for sure. Right. So, but I mean, a lot of money was thrown their way. So I get why they did it. But at the same time, you feel like a guy like a Cam Smith, some of these younger guys, I guess I would say that, could have 20, 30 years left in their career and they went.
Right.
And I guess I always said it about
maybe they don't want to play that much longer. Maybe they want to play a few more years, get as much as they can, and then just not do this anymore.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, it's a grind, and you got to be fully committed to it. So I can see where a guy like Dustin, a little bit older, might say that. But I think that Cam Smith was certainly helped with the British Open win, so he's exempt in all the majors for 5 years. I mean, that makes the decision a lot easier, with so much up in the air with world rankings. But he's in all these majors. But it's an interesting deal, and I just keep going back for me that, so many great terms I've played in for, the first or second time. I just wasn't ready to walk away from that. Now that would be the hardest thing that I think a lot of these guys have, are you ready to walk away from some of these real great tournaments?
I do want to get back to that, but also want to ask you on the flip side, is there somebody who hasn't gone who you thought was a shoe-in to go? I've got one.
Well, you can certainly see a guy like Hideki Matsuyama. I don't know, guys that, he's such a global superstar that would really, such a big market from Japan there.
I thought Ricky was a shoe-in to go.
That's a good point. I heard he was going to go for a while there, and I mean, you hear so many crazy rumors around this whole thing. I think that's the frustrating thing as players, is there's so many rumors and so much going on that it's just been such a distraction for the second half of this year for a lot of guys. And you're almost happy that it's coming to a bit of a resolution. Greg Norman keeps saying they're full and they're not taking any more guys, which would be fantastic, just so you know that we're kind of set here. You have your two pathways and away we go. But right. I don't know if we'll ever really be to that point.
Yeah, well, I was always thinking Ricky was a possibility, but then once I saw Ricky on that private jet with Tiger from Palm Beach to Delaware and back, I'm like, he ain't going. There's no way he's going to do that and then go, yeah, I'm going over across the street. That's not happening. But you said you brought up something in that it's the legacy of the tournaments that you play. And if you could just talk a little bit about what's it like to play the Masters for the first time after obviously being a golf fan for a long time, playing golf, wanting to play that, and then you finally get that opportunity to play Augusta. What's that like?
Yeah, I mean, it's incredible. Growing up, that was the tournament to watch every year, especially in North Dakota. That was kind of the start of our golf season to really get you excited about the season. But, just so many iconic holes out there and shots that you always wanted to be at. And I think I have a greater appreciation for it just because it took me so long to get there. You know, I played 3 years in the Corn Ferry Tour, and then this is my 8th year on the PGA Tour. So it took me, 10 years to get out there, and I saw how hard it was as a professional golfer just to make it to that point. So I think there's that part of it. And then, for me, I always wanted to play in the Tour Championship, which then gets you in all the majors for the upcoming year as well. So, you play at some of those events and they just have a really cool feel to them with such a select group of guys. The Masters is about a 90-man field. The Tour Championship was 30, and you look around and it's like there's no players there almost, but it really does have kind of a cool feel of accomplishment that you've kind of made it and done something very
Right.
to be there.
I mean, going into this year, obviously, do you, I know we've seen it. Justin Thomas posts them on Instagram and shows us what his goals are going into the season and which goals he was able to meet and what he wasn't. Going into this year, I had to think one of your goals would be to win an event. You did that. Had to be making the Tour Championship. You did that. Finishing top 10 in the FedEx Cup. You did that. What goals did you set and meet? And were there goals that were very close other than obviously not making the President's Cup?
Yeah, so I don't really approach it with specific goals like that. I mean, for me, I just try to boil it down that I'm always working to get better. And, every day I'm trying to get better. And I feel like every year in my career to this point that I've got a little bit better. So I just trying to continue that trend. And I don't go a whole lot off of results just because it's tough. I can go play well. I can go play really well at certain venues, and I might finish 15th or 20th place just because the golf course doesn't suit me that well. So I don't put a lot of stock in specific outcome finishes. I just try to keep working, getting better. And I will say though that, when I won at Pebble Beach, I had a few good finishes before that. I finished second in Palm Springs. I finished 4th at the RSM in the fall.
Right.
That I was in a great spot then to make the Tour Championship. And that became a goal, is that I wanted to make sure that I had enough points to make it to East Lake for the first time and guarantee myself in all those majors again for another year. So that was kind of the one time that I really just set a specific goal, but I was so close as it was already that was very easily attainable. But you know what, for me, I approach this next year that, like I said, I'm trying to get better. I think there's some areas that I could improve on my game and become a little bit more consistent. And more than anything, I just like to be in contention a few more times each year. I was in a couple final groups at Palm Springs, Pebble Beach, and RSM. I think I was in the second to last group. So I was there a few times, but that was earlier in the season. So I'd like to do that a little bit more often.
Yeah, I mean, so as you move forward, what are some things you're working on in your game for the next season to try and get better? Is it something where you're trying to hit it a little further? Because it does seem like we're really becoming a distance game, and obviously that's because the distance makes you with a shorter iron in your hand heading into the green. So is distance something you're working on, or are there other aspects of your game that are more important?
Yeah, there's a little bit of distance, and I've been working on that, I would say, for about a year, but nothing real crazy. Just trying to get a little bit more speed where I can and kind of raise the baseline. But and I think that my stats, I don't know what I was, 7 or 8 yards longer this last year. So there might be a little bit of a correlation there as far as kind of moving up that FedEx Cup list, because that'll add up over the course of a season. But I've always been a good iron player, so I try to keep working on my strengths and make sure that stays a strength. For me, I've always been a bit of a streaky putter, so I could be a little more consistent putter. I think it would really help me over the course of the season. I played really well off the start of the year, and then I had a stretch in the summer where I missed a few cuts, and I would like to kind of even that out as we go the next year. And I just look at little things. I was turned 33 this summer. Body wasn't quite moving as well as I thought it could have, probably towards the end of the year as the year went on. So look at some stuff as far as what I can do with physios, just kind of keep that mobility up and take care of those little things to help me play a little better each week.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough as the off season is really only a couple of weeks. I think a week from tomorrow, we start back up. Are you playing at the Fortinet?
I am. I love going out to that tournament, and Silverado is a great golf course that I think suits me well. So I'm excited to get back and tee it up, and I'll play a lot this fall. I think I'm going to take Jackson off. I'm going to take Bermuda off, and there's one more, Houston, 3 weeks off. But I'm going to play a lot this fall. It's been a great time of the year for me in the fall, where I've got off to some good starts the last few years in the FedEx Cup list. I kind of got ahead of the game a little bit, and it just sets up the year so much better to try to make a push for the FedEx Cup.
So these tournaments early in the year help you make that push later when you're trying to get to East Lake, because getting to East Lake really is a big deal.
Yeah, I mean, that's the goal for everybody, I would say, just because, like I said, it gets you in all the majors and so much goes with it. But for me, as I look at the schedule, I feel like there's a lot of good golf courses I've played well at in the fall. I've played well in Vegas. I've played well at RSM. So for me, if I can get out and have a few good weeks and get a lot of points on the board early, that certainly helps.
Now, how different is it for you this year, where now being a winner in 2022, being exempt, once again, you're in all the majors because you were at East Lake. How different is it for you now to sit back and be able to hunt and, kind of peck your schedule and play when you want to play versus events when you kind of have to play?
Yeah, to be honest, it's something that I need to get a lot better at, because I look at every week that I want to go out and play, because I've always liked all these courses we play, and to be honest, every week on the PGA Tour is so great to be out there. And I say they're giving out $1.5 million each week, and it certainly pays better than playing our $40 game at home at Mirror Vista here in town. So
I think your odds are a little better at the $40 game. I'm pretty sure you whoop everybody's ass at your home club.
But yeah, I like to play a lot, and I've played 32, 33 weeks the last few years, and it's probably a couple too many. So I'm trying to do a little bit better at picking a little bit more rest, but it's tough. I'll leave it at that.
Yeah. So Fortinet is a week from tomorrow. Are you already prepping for that now, or are you kind of still enjoying some downtime?
Yeah, I took most of last week and kind of relaxed a little bit, but things are gearing up pretty good. I feel like that's a great golf course for me, and I want to be sharp when I get out there and ready to go. So I'm excited. It sounds funny. I'm excited to get this year going again after our big 2 week break.
Just played 2 weeks ago.
Really, I'm trying to kind of continue that form that I had from the Tour Championship and see how long I can ride that for.
Tom, nothing but respect for you for the way you handled, as you said, that you really wanted to be on the President's Cup team. And so some guys, when they don't get picked, like, yeah, I didn't really want to do that anyways. I wanted to take some time off. Respect to how you handled not being picked and letting that drive you to be on next year's Ryder Cup team.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough. Like I said, it was something I really wanted, and to get that call was, that's a tough one, and it was a tough call for Davis as well. I'm sure that's probably the worst part of that job, is having to make those calls. But I told Davis, and I still feel that way, that any one of those guys in the bubble, like I said, are great players and have had great seasons, and you can make a case for any one of them to be on that team. So you certainly can't fault them there, but I'm just trying to use it as motivation. I was close this year, and I left myself on the bubble. Ultimately, I could have gone out and played a little bit better and taken care of things to assure that I would have been there. So that's more my focus now, is how do I play a little bit better this next year and make sure that I play my way onto that Ryder Cup team by my play.
Will you be watching any of the President's Cup?
Yeah, for sure. We're actually planning a trip down to Cabo that weekend instead. So we'll tune in for sure. I always find myself watching golf when I'm at home, as it is, just because I'm such a fan of it and love seeing what's going on.
I love that. I watch golf all the time. My wife's like, isn't there anything I've golf? If golf's not on, I'm watching Golf Channel. She's like, hold on a second.
It is
watching
football season now, though, so it's getting a little harder to watch golf.
It is. I was just about to get into that. Did you watch any of these college games the first week? Were insane.
Yeah, we got spoiled right off the bat. I mean, those will be a few of the best games of the year for sure.
Who's your college team?
I went to TCU. We're 1-0 after a big win at Colorado to start off the season. So hopefully this will be our year for 12-0. But
I mean, did you watch any? I mean, I'm not a Florida State fan by any means. I'm actually the complete opposite. I'm a huge Gators fan, and we got a really good win to start off the season against Utah. I mean, I hope Utah's as good as everybody says they are, which then means we're actually pretty good too. But the LSU Florida State game was insane.
Yeah, I mean, it looked like LSU was dead there with that muff punt, and somehow I don't know what it is about LSU games, but they always seem to come down to some sort of goofy clock situation at the end where they got to review time and put time back on. But what a great game to start off the year. A few of those Penn State game. Trying to think who else was playing that Thursday night, but yeah, we've had a
the Pitt West Virginia game was insane as well.
but it's just a fun time of the year. I love watching college football.
It is. And then tomorrow night, we get our kickoff of the NFL season. So, I mean, this really is a great time of year for sports fans. I think my wife doesn't like this time of year because between golf, college, and pro ball, there's absolutely no time for me to do anything else. But it really is a good time. I'm excited for the NFL to get started back as well.
Yeah, for sure. It's a little harder to get out and practice in those weekends when a lot of football is going on. A lot of fun to watch.
It is. I'm one of those guys that we've got a concert to go to this weekend. We're actually going to see Billy Carrington, but it's during the Gator game. I'm like, yeah, I'll be checking out the score of the Gator game on my phone while we're watching the concert. But hey, I mean, I've even seen guys. I've talked to Billy Horschel before. When there's an important Gator game going on, he's got his caddy with checking the score during the game, so he knows what's going on at the Gator game.
During TCU games, I'm usually getting updates on my phone as we're going down. And
do you really?
Trying to think, the one year I was playing with Chris Stroud at Palm Springs. We were last off on Sunday off at 10, so we were in the back of the bus. But that would have been the year that the Jacksonville Jags were playing the play. I think that was to get to the Super Bowl. We were waiting a lot in the group in front of us, so he was watching the coverage on the phone, walking down the last few fairways. It's pretty funny. Yeah,
they were playing the Patriots that year.
Yeah, it was a hell of a game,
and they had him beat. But Tom did what Tom does. I'm actually I'm a Tampa Bay Buccaneers fan, so I'm happy to have Tom doing what Tom does for one last year, because I thought we were done after that 40-day retirement, but he decided he needed
got a few more years left in him.
I think this will be it. Do you think he plays more?
I don't see how, but the guy's been incredible, even at whatever he is, 44 years old. So you never know.
Yeah, it'll be good. It is. It's good to have all this football back, but. Once again, Tom, man, nothing but respect in how you handled the President's Cup picks. We will be watching, hopefully. I mean, it seems like a Team USA, but listen, these strange things happen. We're ready to crown Team USA now, but these guys on the international team, they got nothing to lose.
It really makes it harder for Team USA. I mean, golf, you can go out any day of the week and anybody can beat anybody, but to have that much pressure, I don't know what the betting line would be, but they've got to be huge favorites. I mean, probably as big as it's ever been, just looking at those teams. But it'll be fun to watch. Quail Hollow is such a great venue too. I know that they've kind of tweaked those holes a little bit, so the green mile's kind of in the middle of the back nine. So it'll be a great test and fun to watch. That's one of my favorite tournaments of the year. Every year at Wells Fargo, we can go to Quail Hollow, so it'll be fun to watch. Yeah,
it'll be good. So we're excited for the President's Cup. We'll see you next week at the Fortinet. Where will we see you after Fortinet?
After that, it'll be a good stretch. I'm going Vegas, Japan, and Congaree for the CJ Cup. So I'll be playing quite a bit this fall.
Awesome. And then you take a little bit of downtime and then start off in Hawaii. Have you played the Tournament of Champions before? You haven't, right?
I have not. First time. Yep. I'm excited.
That's a good couple weeks in Hawaii. You get the Tournament of Champions and then go over and play the Sony.
Exactly. I've always loved playing Sony too. So it'll be fun to be there for 2 weeks this year.
Awesome. Good deal, man. Hawaii is beautiful. Those golf courses, I was there over the summertime. We did a helicopter tour over Kapalua. Okay. It is just absolutely unbelievable. Golf course is, right on the cliff and just gorgeous, looking out over Molokai over across the way. It really is a beautiful, beautiful place.
I heard it's a tough walk. That's the only issue. So I'll have to be getting in shape over Christmas. That's for sure.
It is. It's a lot of uphill walking. So, well, good deal, Tom. Thank you, man. Good luck to you. Appreciate. Always love having you on. We'll definitely have you on again during this 2022, the final 2022-2023 wraparound season as we get ready for the changes upcoming with the PGA Tour. But really appreciate you coming on, Tom. Thanks so much.
Yeah, thanks a lot. It's been fun.